won't fellowship with certain people because you don't feel like you fit in. But that's a lie. Because God didn't create not one of us any greater than the other.
Amen.
I'm no better than Matthews, and I'm so glad to see you this morning. Because I don't have to come over there and turn your bed over, because that's what I was about to do. I love you. I love him enough to, since he was this high, he know I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. And I had already gotten permission from his mother that if he didn't come to church, I was coming to his house. I was going to turn his bed over because I refuse to let you go to hell, son.
That's right.
You've been born and raised in this. You may not understand all of it. You've had your share of problems. But ask one person in this room that ever lived a life problem-free. Not one of us. And I refuse to let you go to hell unless you determine and prove to me that's where you want to go. And I don't think so.
Better believe me, tell my
I don't think so. I love you too much. I do not want to see one soul in hell. I'm hurting today. My heart aches today because of my bus driver that drove for me. And I can't stand here and say for an assurance that he made it. But I can stand here and say he knew. He knew. But I can't stand here and say he made it. That's not a nice feeling. It's not a nice feeling to stand beside a coffin, look down on an empty body, and wonder, where is he spending eternity? That's not a nice feeling. It's not a nice feeling. And Matthews, I don't care where you go, son. I'm going to ask Mama, where's Matthews? Why Matthews ain't here? I'm going to ask Michelle. Michelle, go tell Matthews, if I don't see him in a hurry, I'm coming. Because I love you that much. And Jesus loves you more than I do. He died for you. He shed his blood for you. Are you going to be perfect? No, son. You're going to make mistakes. But we're going to get to heaven together. We're going to feed off of one another. And we're going to make it. Getting back on shame. I ain't gone nowhere yet. I ain't even got to my message yet. But getting back on this shame thing. We need to deal with it. One by one. Nobody needs to know. If we just began to address it. If we just began to be honest with ourselves. Lord, every time I get to this place, this come up. Lord, every time I get ready to make a commitment to you, I think about what happened when I was a teenager. Amen. That's shame. That's shame. Every time I get ready to achieve, make a move, I think about this one thing. And all of a sudden, I begin to back up. I back up off of my dreams because I haven't gotten past this one thing. I prayed with a lady a few years ago. Never saw her before in my life. Never saw her before. And God gave me these words to say to her, that the caged bird had been set free. This young lady, I learned afterwards, had been molested as a child. She had never told anyone, but she had lived in a cage. She was married, had children of her own. And she feared every time one of her children got out of her sight. She feared. But when God came in and touched her and told her he had set the caged bird free, He had opened the cage, and she couldn't come out. She had lived with that for that many years. It had become a part of her. And she couldn't come out until she admitted to herself that it was not her fault. She'd done nothing to provoke it. She'd done nothing to make it happen. She'd done nothing to contribute to it. But she had lived all them years blaming herself. She didn't blame the person. She blamed herself. And she lived in fear all them years. And she began to deal with it and realize and accept. But you know what she had to do before she could be totally free? She had to forgive. She had to forgive. She had to forgive the very... Did that forgiveness cause her to admit that that person was right? No. That forgiveness set her free. It didn't set that person. That person is still living with that, unless they've dealt with it with God. But it set her free because she forgave. She forgave. How serious is forgiveness and shame? How serious is it? I had to come face to face with it. One of the hardest things of my life. I had to come face to face with it. I had to look down in the coffin at an 18-month-old child. And then I had to go sit in a courtroom, one row, in front of a 24-year-old man and say, I forgive you for killing that 18-month-old child. Because I was responsible for that child. That child knew no other father but me. But because I let him went and visit, and he got killed on that visit, I lived with that until I sat in that courtroom and came face to face with his killer and had to say, I forgive you. That's what forgiveness will do. Did it set him free? Did it stop my hurt? Yes, I did. I forgive it. Not ashamed of it. Not ashamed of it. But I had to sit there and I had to confess to myself it was not my fault. I don't have to walk around in guilt because of what someone else did. We carry the guilt that is intended for God. That He died on the cross for. But we carry it because we haven't gotten to a point where we will let it go. We carry the guilt of childhood injuries. We carry the guilt of parents that didn't understand that words wound children. How many ever heard a parent say, you will never grow up to be nothing? And had to live with that. And still battling that even today. It's called shame. That's a lie. But if you tell a child enough that you ain't going to grow up to be nothing, boy, you'll never amount to be nothing. Girl, you'll never amount. You'll never have a family. You'll never keep this. You'll never keep that. They're going to begin to believe it. And you know what they're going to begin to act up? The very thing that they've been told. Right? God didn't create any nothings. God didn't make any mistakes.
That's right.